Hey there, Zill Star, and welcome back to my channel. Or if this is the first time that you are joining me here, welcome. I am always excited to meet another Zill fanatic. My name is Sahira. I love to teach you the beautiful art of belly dance. I am also a certified finger cymbal freak. I absolutely love finger cymbals. And in today's video, I am going to compare and contrast and profile my 5 favorite finger cymbals for you so that you can perhaps pick the next set of cymbals that you would like to add to your collection. So let's go ahead and dive in. My name is Sahira, and I'm here to teach you the beautiful art of belly dance. Alrighty, we are going to work our way from my 5th place finger cymbal at the moment, because it's always changing, all the way down to my favorite, which has held my steady favorite for quite some time. So take a second and see, especially if you know me, can you guess? Can you guess which ones have made my list? I probably own about 20 different sets of cymbals. I will admit that about 80% of those are from the Saroyan Mastercrafts company. And I will also admit that every single one of my top 5 does come from Saroyan. So I'm a little bit biased. I love their products. So, all right, diving in, number 5 is my large Grecians in silver. So these large Grecians in silver I have had for several years now. I actually bought them directly from Virginia of Saroyan Mastercrafts. When I met her for the first time, we had been like online friends, and I had been, pumping their Zills for years before we actually met in person at the fabulous Fusion Evolution in Chicago. I bought these Zills from her after I spent hours at the table playing every single set of cymbals that they had there, because I had never had the chance to do that. I had been looking at their website and playing their MP3 files for many, many years, and then I had the chance to play them all. And in fact, you can watch me do exactly that. I will link to the video. There is a video on my YouTube as well as Saroyan's, and on Saroyan's website. If you go to the Sounds of Saroyan on their website, you will see a video of me playing every single set of Zills that they had on their table at that event. And these are the ones that I chose to pick up. I loved them. I was very surprised how much I enjoyed them. I tend to be more of a brass Zill player than a silver Zill player. Just I like the more mellow tones. But what I loved about these is that they're very lightweight for their size. Now, I went to the website and looked at the weight information, and they're actually not that much lighter than, say, the Afghanis. They're only 5 grams lighter, but it really seemed apparent to me when I put them on that they were a lot lighter. They also have a beautiful tone and are very easy to play because they're light. They have a nice rounded bell. They have a very pretty design, very simple edge design. The only thing I do not use these for is a cappella finger cymbal work because of the size of this bell, and I could probably do myself a favor and resew these elastics so there's no tab on the inside. There's a teeny tiny tab, but because this bell is so wide and so like open, ticks do not work in the middle because the Zill ends up connecting with the elastic. So I don't do acapella Zill work with these. I use these pretty much exclusively with music and in scenarios where I don't need an incredibly loud finger cymbal. But I really do like these Grecians by Saroyan. So these are currently in 5th place. All right. So moving on to my 4th place finger cymbals. At the moment, they switch positions all the time. These are my Gazis in bronze. These are the only bronze finger cymbals that I own. I absolutely love how they look. They actually look so beautiful when they're polished, but I play mine so often and they patina so quickly. So these are sad. Go look at them on the Saroyan website, and they're a beautiful like coppery color, which they don't really have right now, right? Because I use them a lot, but their design is really pretty. And I love the color so much. They have a very high tone. Check this out. These are some of the highest toned finger cymbals in my collection. And I'm actually mildly surprised that I like them so much because I like lower toned cymbals. But they have a little bit of heft to them. I was checking it out on the website, and these Gazis actually clock in at 188 grams, which makes them 18 grams heavier than the Grecians. And I would normally say well, you can't really feel the difference. I actually can feel the difference. These are definitely much thicker finger cymbals. So if you like a little heftier, thicker cymbal, you will really like these Gazis. I mostly love them because they're called Gazis, which I think is fun. I love the design and I love the color. I use these a lot for my more like folkloric performances because they're called Gazis. I feel like the shape must be reminiscent of like the zills that the Banat Mazin used or something like that. So yeah, these are very beautiful. They're a little bit smaller than say your Afghani or your Grecians. These are 2.5 inches in diameter. The Grecians are 2 and 5/8, which is not really much of a difference, but you can kind of see here that one is slightly smaller than the other. So if you prefer slightly smaller zills, the Gawazis might be a good option for you. I just have to always give the caveat when it comes to zills. A lot of people who approach me and they say they like smaller zills, they say, oh, I have very small hands. I need small finger cymbals. I have tiny hands. I have abnormally small hands and I love the larger finger cymbals. As long as you can play them without it like pinching you here in the hand, you're good to go. So I encourage you to play around, find someone with a large collection, borrow their finger cymbals and see if you like the larger zills. I find they're easier for a cappella sort of multi-tonal playing when you're using different sounds. The larger cymbals work a little bit better. All right. Moving on to number 3. This is actually the newest addition to my collection. You may have seen I reviewed these not long ago here on my channel. These are the Saroyan Arabesque 2s, and they came to me as a gift from a friend of mine who was no longer using them, and I love them. I was very surprised how much I loved them. Number one, because they were silver. I was like, well, let's see. They also have a very small bell. It's not very high, but they have a really nice outer rim. They have a very beautiful design, and the friend of mine who gave them to me, she had a method of sewing elastic that I really enjoy. I mean, it's sewed underneath just the normal way, but the elastic she uses is wider than the slot that is provided in the finger cymbal. And this gives a really good feeling, like the elastic takes up a lot of space on my finger and it feels very secure and very stable. And so I love just putting these on. I love how these feel. Like they feel like they are totally connected to my hand and they are an extension of my being, right? They're not like an extra thing dangling off my fingers that I have to navigate. And that's 100% choosing this larger elastic, which I'm going to do the next time I resew my Zill elastics. But let's listen to these. They have a beautiful ring. They're tone matched because it's Saroyan. They're gorgeous. These I would also say are maybe edging on a larger cymbal. Like they're a little bit bigger, just a tiny bit bigger than my Gawazis. But for me, these are, yeah, sort of a medium to medium large. They're not as big as my Afghanis. That's kind of those are the largest cymbals that I own that I play on a regular basis. I also own the Altajas, which are huge and gorgeous, but I do not play them on a regular basis because they eat my hand, but they're fantastic. So these are number 3, Saroyan Arabesque 2s. Number 2 are my Tutankhamun, or my Tutankhamens, also from Saroyan Mastercrafts. These have a beautiful design. None of my zills are polished, none of them. I will polish like one pair each year that looks particularly sad. These might be the next ones to get a polish. It doesn't last. It takes such a long time. I only polish when I'm going to remove the elastics because you have to remove the elastics to polish. Then you have to polish and put the elastics back in. Patience is not my virtue. So these are all nicely patinaed, right? Nicely patinaed, but they do have a really cool design on them. These are some of the best designs I think that I have. There's a lot going on the Zill. It's really cool. These are, I'm trying to think, these are 2.5 inches according to the website, 180 grams. All of the Zills are, pretty close to the ones that I own and I like to play, all very close in size and in weight. These have a nice heft to them. They're a little smaller than my Afghanis. Let's listen. Yeah, these are nice. I've been playing these more and more because they're easy. They're really easy. The Afghanis are easy too, but I can definitely feel that they're a little bit bigger. So they take a little bit more articulation of my hand to work with. These are definitely big enough to do all of the different sounds that I like to do. But because they're a tiny bit smaller, like here are my Afghanis, the tuts are a tiny bit smaller. than those Afghanis. Actually, they're kind of a lot, like in Zill land, this is quite a big difference in size. Just to kind of give you a reference though, Zills that I don't play very often, but I have my old contemporary pair. These are the smallest Zills that I have in my collection. I don't play them. I keep them so that I can loan them to my students. These are considered a small cymbal, and it's a very big difference. This is the contemporaries versus the tuts, or if I show you the contemporaries versus the Afghanis, you can really see that it's a really big difference. I don't play the small ones anymore. They just don't make enough sound for me. They're very beautiful. They don't make enough sound for me, and they're very hard to maneuver if I'm trying to do sort of multiple tones because they are so small. Oh, they're so cute though, aren't they? They're so quiet. These are great starter Zills. I don't think Saroyan sells them anymore, the contemporary. So I usually recommend if you're starting out on Zills and you're looking for a great pair, I usually recommend either the Nefertiti's or the Arabesque from Saroyan, the small ones. These I've had forever and they're fun, but I just don't really play them. Okay, that means we have now made it. Because did I play these two Tutankhamuns? Let me play it just a little bit more. Yeah, so now we've made it to number one. You've probably figured out what it is because I keep referencing it, and it's been my number one for quite some time. I am talking about the Saroyan Afghanis in brass. These I play more than any other. In fact, they need an elastic change. Let me play these. I play these more than any other. Oh, they sound so loud compared to those contemporaries. They don't really have much of a design, which does not prevent them from being my favorites. Like it says Afghani cymbals on the edge. There's some Arabic script, and then there's some little lines drawn around it. The silvers, I actually have them in silver as well. The silvers have a much prettier design on them. There's some drawing on there, but the brass ones are very, very basic. But man, they sound good. I really, really like these. I like the depth of the bell. I like the slope of the bell. I like that they have a fairly wide rim, so they create really nice clacky clacks. Since they're so big, they're super easy to maneuver. Like if I want to bring it into my palm of my hand to create a tick or a muffled sound, it happens very quickly because they're just right there. Like they're the perfect size. They're a nice weight according to the website. Let's see, these are 2 3/4 inches and 175 grams, which is interesting. They're slightly less heavy, supposedly, than the tuts, and the tuts are a little bit smaller, so these must be a little bit thinner. But they have a beautiful tone. While I've got my silver ones here, I'll grab them so that you can hear. Saroyan also sells multi-tonal sets, duotones, where you can buy one of one and one of the other. So you can hear the huge difference in tone between brass and silver. Totally different tones. I prefer the brass. I like lower, mellower tones. But I will say, like, after 24 years of playing the finger cymbals, now I haven't owned these for 24 years, but I've probably owned them for at least 18, and they have remained my favorite for a very, very long time. So these are always what I recommend when people are ready for a larger zill, especially if you want to do a cappella work or multi-tonal work. This is great. I would say if these are a little big for you or you are a little intimidated, maybe try I feel like the tuts are a very similar flavor without being exactly the same and being a little bit smaller. So that's the tuts versus the Afghanis, kind of almost similar size, kind of similar flair. Both fantastic cymbals. You can't go wrong with Saroyan, which is probably why it's only their Zills that have made it to my top 5 of my giant collection. So that's it, my friend. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you want to hear more finger cymbals, the Saroyan website is a fantastic place to go. You can go to sahirabellydances.com/Saroyan cymbals, and you can check out, they have MP3 audio files of every single Zill that they sell, and you go to the Sounds of Saroyan page and you can watch me play all their Zills ecstatically. I was like a kid in a candy shop. It was so much fun. So hopefully this helps you kind of distinguish among the different kinds and sizes and tones of Zills available to you. I always say it's very important when you're starting out and continuing continuing with your finger cymbal practice to pick instruments that you enjoy listening to. Because if you don't like how they sound, you're not going to want to play them. You can get on, Amazon or eBay and buy some finger cymbals, but don't. Don't. Friends don't let friends buy crappy Zills. Just don't do it. Don't do it because you're not going to enjoy it. It's going to sound like crap. It's not going to ring, and it's not going to be any fun to play. So be sure to invest in a quality pair of finger cymbals. And if you want any recommendations, just hit me up. I love helping people buy finger cymbals. If you have a pair that you love that you think should make it into this top 5, post below and let me know, because if I don't own them yet, I will go out and buy them. All right. Thanks for watching. I look forward to making music with you soon.